You clicked on this video, you've probably already heard about St. Barts. Lately, it's been talked about everywhere, and interest in St. Barts has surged around this past New Year's. In this video, I will show you what St. Barts is actually like once you're there, why it feels so exclusive, how the island actually works, and what the experience is really like beyond the image. Before I can even show you the island or explain how St. Barts actually works, I have to explain how you can get here. You can't just book a normal direct flight, and even private jets can't fly in because the airport here is consistently ranked as one of the most dangerous in the world. Pilots here have to be specially certified just to land. Because of that, everyone, no matter how you travel, has to come in on one of two ways. The first option is by coming by boat from St. Martin. If you're taking a ferry, I would recommend the Voyager Ferry. It's about 1 hour and it's roughly between 40 to 100 euros per person. It's straightforward, but the seas can be rough and it's really not for everyone. The other option with a boat is chartering your own yacht. It starts at about 1900 euros for about 10 people and it's a 53-foot boat. This is from 2024 to 2025 pricing. The second and by far most popular option is flying in on a small plane. You can either fly in from San Juan, Puerto Rico, or from San Martin. The best experience by far and the most expensive experience is to fly in from San Juan with Tradewind. They're incredibly reliable, the customer service is unreal, and they run shared charters on a PC-12. That is an insane plane to get to experience. The flight time is about 1 hour, but the price is between $500 to $1,000 per person. They're expensive, as I said, but there's a reason for it. People on the island told me that during the Trump-Venezuela situation on January 3rd, when people were struggling to get in and out of the island, Tradewind literally chartered a yacht on their own dime just to get clients to St. Barts the same day. And it was not a bad yacht either. It was a 63-foot yacht, all alcohol included, champagne included. It was nice. And that tells you everything about how they operate. The other option, and honestly the best value option, is flying from St. Martin. You land at Princess Juliana Airport and you just take a short hop over, so it's quick. And there are two airlines you'll mainly hear about. The best one is Barts Commuter. Now, you might not have ever heard of this one, and I'm gonna be honest, when I saw their website for the first time, I thought it was a complete scam because it was only about 130 euros per person compared to the other one, and you just don't think they're that good. This is actually the sketchiest waiting area. I'm not gonna lie. But they are actually the hands down best option if you're traveling from St. Martin. The only downside though is that usually you have to book them in advance and the seats sell out fast because they are pretty cheap and the locals, the French people, they know about St. Barts Commuter. The last and least preferable option is Winair. This is the airline you'll see most often associated with St. Barts, especially on Google Flights and from influencers. In my experience, it should really be a last resort. You can't reliably check bags, delays are common, and if you're connecting through St. Martin, they will not wait for you. You need to be at the gate at least an hour early. Tickets also tend to be more expensive than St. Barts Commuter, usually in the $250 to $350 range. Of course, you can also charter your own plane or helicopter from St. Martin. It starts at around $2,000, which is an option I help clients navigate. Once you're on the island, here's how St. Barts actually works.
The theme is
Before I talk about specific areas or where to stay, it's important to understand how St. Barts functions, because logistics here matter more than anywhere else. First things first, you have to rent a car. Unless you're staying in Gustavia, and more on that in a bit, this island is not walkable. There is no such thing as Uber, and taxis on the island are pretty much a mafia. There are only 30 of them, and every ride is 100 euros. It doesn't matter if you only go 50 meters or across the entire island, it will be 100 euros. For renting a car, I would recommend only to rent a Mini Cooper. The roads are narrow, parking is tight, and there are many hills and tight corners. Other cars may look cheaper, but they struggle on inclines and you'll feel it. Once you understand that, choosing where to stay becomes much simpler. If you like going out to beach clubs, casual drinks, bars, and nightlife, there are two main areas where that scene is concentrated, Saint Jean and Gustavia. Everything else on the island is quieter and more removed. Let's start with St. Jean. St. Jean is a beach and daytime energy area. This is where the day parties live, such as Nikki Beach, Marguerite Beach, Now Beach Club, and more. And St. Jean is also home to Eden Rock, which is basically the most iconic hotel on the island. It's very social, and people are constantly coming through for lunch, beach drinks, and the scene. It also just so happens to sit pretty centrally on the island, so getting everywhere else is easy. If your trip revolves around beach days, staying in or near St. Jean makes life convenient. And if you're doing a villa, being close to St. Jean keeps you connected to the daytime action. Alright, now that we've gone over St. Jean, let's talk about Gustavia. This is the town side of the island. You've got restaurants, nightlife, and shopping. It's the most walkable part of St. Bart's as well. If you have kids that are teenagers or young adults, this is honestly the best place to stay because it's the one area where they can move around without needing someone to drive them everywhere. And if you think Gustavia means you're giving up the beach, you're absolutely not. You have Shalona Beach Club with access to Shell Beach. In Gustavia, the best hotel here is Hotel Barriere, which is upscale, calm, and very well positioned. Stays here also give you priority for beach shares at Shalona, which are usually very hard to get. For villas, being near Gustavia makes nights out way easier. Everything outside those two areas that I just mentioned is on the quieter side of St. Bart's. Flamand's is home to one of the biggest and most beautiful beaches on the island with wide white sand, and it's actually maintained, which matters because a lot of beaches here are more wild. The anchor hotel here is Cheval Blanc, and in my opinion, it's one of the top hotels on the island if you want calm, service, and beachfront luxury. It's also a great option if you like a deliberately slower paced trip. You're still only about 10 minutes from all the action, but it feels more private. And for villas, Flamand's is a really good middle ground, quiet but not completely isolated. Then there's Le Toigny. This is the place to be if you want ultimate privacy. You're on the complete other side of the island, and this part of the island feels a little bit more raw and untouched. It's gorgeous, and most importantly, it's quiet. The hotel here is Hotel Le Toigny, which only has about 22 rooms, each with their own pool, so it doesn't feel like a normal resort. When I visited during peak season, there was literally only one other person in the lobby. They also have a beach club, but unlike St. Jean or Shalona, it is a completely different vibe. There is no DJ and it's not a party scene. This area is perfect for honeymooners or anyone who just wants to disappear. And you can still go out if you want, it's just not outside your door. Lastly, there's Pointe Malo. I wouldn't really recommend staying here for most people that are coming to the island for the first time, as it's kind of an awkward base unless you already know the island. The exception is families. The Rosewood is a phenomenal option if you have kids, and their Explorers Club makes it one of the easiest luxury stays on the island. Choosing between hotels and villas is its own conversation, truly, and I'll break that down properly in a full dedicated video. For now, however, this should give you a good mental map of how St. Bart's operates. Okay guys, so I just got to St. Bart's. I'm going to be giving you guys a tour of the villa. And yeah, let's see it. So this villa was called Les Grenadines, and it was the base for our trip. Everything guests use is on one main level, and it's a very easy villa to live in day to day. This villa is located in Gustavia, which is close to restaurants and nightlife, but the good thing about this villa is that it was still quiet at night. It worked especially well for us traveling as a family. The main living space opens straight up to the outside, and this is where most of the day ends up happening. This is where we mostly were when we were in our villa. The master bedroom is separate from the living space, and it's quiet and private, which is a really good setup if you're traveling with kids or other people. The other bedrooms are also simple and functional because the walls are soundproofed and everyone has their own space. As I said before, the outdoor space is truly the highlight because the pool and dining areas work really well together. One thing about the villa, who decided to make this an open floor concept to get to the rooms? Like, dude. Terrible architecture here. Just speaking from a practical point of view. Like, I'm trying to get to the kitchen right now. Fucking getting rained on as I get to the kitchen. Like, what is that? In this last and final section of the video, I'm not going to be going over things that I did every single day on this island because that would just take too much time, and that I'm going to leave for its own dedicated video. However, what I will be going over is what I thought was really good, what I thought was really bad, and what I thought was just overpriced. Okay, starting with the good. Let's start with Le Clandestine. It's a bar in Gustavia. They have a private room and a main bar, so I have two separate ratings for that. The private room is a 10 out of 10. I loved smoking cigars there. The main bar I give an 8 out of 10 because it's expensive, but it's still one of the best bars on the island, and I went there multiple times for a reason. Next, Le Cafe. It's got a chic, elegant party vibe with live music, and the food there is actually really good for a party spot. Again, it's expensive, but it's worth it, and one of my favorites overall. Number 3, let's go with Bagatelle. Bagatelle is always solid, and if you're going, make sure to get a bottle as it will change the experience. And then Barry's Club and Pablo's, again in Gustavia. They're easy late night moves in Gustavia, and you got lots of local people as well as tourists. Now, for daytime options, I really loved Shalona. It has the best food out of any beach club on the island. It's consistently good, and it's an easy recommendation. Next up is La Guerite Beach. It's got very fun energy, especially Fridays and Saturdays. The burger there was really good, and it's a strong daytime option if you want to go like daytime clubbing, and you can't go to Nikki Beach Sunday. Eden Rock Beach Club is also polished, relaxed, and beautiful, and it's an easy place to spend an entire day, and the food quality is not bad. It's not high, but it's not bad. Last up for the beach clubs is Latoini Beach Club. As I said earlier in this video, it's pretty calm. There's no DJ. If you want to just have a quiet day and just relax, it's the perfect spot to be. It's a great contrast to Saint Jean, and it's a spot that you got to go to for a full day. The food there it's good, but it's nothing that you can't have it anywhere else. Of course, you don't need to hear about Nikki Beach Club. Nikki Beach Club is phenomenal, especially on Sundays. Literally, the entire island goes on Sunday to Nikki Beach. Like, everything is closed on the island, and everyone goes to Nikki Beach to party. So, if you have one thing that you're going to do in St. Bart's, make sure to go to Nikki Beach Sunday. But you don't need me to tell you that. Everyone online will tell you that. Okay, moving on to restaurants that I loved. I loved Isola. I went back multiple times, and it was one of the most reliable dinners on their island. If you do go to La Isola, make sure you get the lobster pasta. It's by far one of the best pastas I've ever had. Tea Corral is another really good option. It's casual French food, and people say it has the best lobster on the island. Me personally, it wasn't my favorite, but I did love the ceviche. And last up is Arawak Cafe. I thought Arawak Cafe was an amazing cafe on the island. It's a great spot for breakfast, lunch, and cocktails. There's really only one bad place in St. Bart's, and I'll tell you that in a second, but most places on St. Bart's are just overrated, not necessarily bad, because you go into a restaurant and you're like, oh shit, just for the two of us, we spent nearly 400 euros, and the food just ended up being mid. But there's one place that I would totally not recommend in St. Bart's, and that's La Petite Plage. The food there is not good as they microwave it. The service is really pushy, and they try and just get you to spend more and more money, and I would 100% skip this place. And one more thing to note about La Petite Plage, the name literally translates to a little beach. So forget wearing nice shoes at La Petite Plage because the whole ground there is just sand. So I was wearing like my Prada loafers and they just got completely cooked. I really just don't like that place at all. Everything about the atmosphere, the place, the food, everything is just not good. Lastly, the expensive. For your normal person, I'm gonna be honest, everything in St. Bart's is expensive, but the one place that I thought was just absurdly expensive, even for St. Bart's, is Bonito. They do have an incredible views and a vibe, but come on, man, 50 euro cocktails, it's just ridiculous. It gets to a point it gets to a point. The food was okay, but nothing was really good except the lobster tacos and the Wagyu tacos. I give it a 7 out of 10 overall, but come on, man, 50 euro cocktails is just stupid. One thing I did want to mention before ending this video is St. Bart's is incredibly reservation based, especially in high season. Walk-ins don't really work, and access matters here a lot more than people expect. If you are planning a trip to St. Bart's and you want my help booking it properly with hotels, villas, or beach clubs, that's exactly what I do. I'll leave my email right here on screen and a link in the description. Before I wrap up this video, I want to give one last reality check for you guys. St. Bart's is fucking expensive. It's not a budget destination, and if you're counting every expense, this island will not feel comfortable for you. To experience it properly, with the restaurants and beach clubs and nightclubs, you really can't be stressed about spending. Realistically, you should be expecting around 200 euros per person per meal if you guys want to drink. If that works for you, then St. Bart's is an incredible destination, and everything here truly feels polished, intentional, and elevated with the service, with the view, the people, and that's why I'll come back every time.